The stars are endless tonight, and I have a story for you. My name is Wayfarer. I've drifted through 36,963 galaxies across 3 millennia, seen civilizations rise and fall, collected countless stories along the way. Tonight, I tell you one of them, a tale not of heroes, but of consequences, of a colony that dared to say no, of an empire that thought itself untouchable, and of 72 hours that changed the meaning of fear across 14 star systems. So sit back, traveler. The journey is about to begin. This is Wayfarer HFY. The last transmission from Commander Zarkathi lasted exactly 7 seconds. 3 words in his native tongue, then silence. Translated, they meant, they don't stop. When we recovered the recording 72 hours later, it was already too late. Not for him, for all of them, for a planet of 14 billion souls that simply ceased to exist. This is the story of how 2 worlds died, one in fire, the other in something far worse. Let me tell you about the Zarkathi. For 800 standard years, they carved their name across the stars. 47 star systems bent the knee to their fleets. They didn't negotiate. They didn't compromise. They arrived, demanded submission, and if you refused, well, there were entire planets that served as examples. They commanded a fleet of 2,300 warships, armies numbering 4 billion soldiers. By galactic standards, they were a mid-tier power. To themselves, they were gods among mortals. Their doctrine was simple: strength through fear, compliance through overwhelming force. For 8 centuries it worked. Species 3 times their size paid tribute. Empires with ancient histories bowed without resistance. Why fight the Zarkathi when surrender meant survival? The logic was sound, until the day they encountered a colony called New Horizon. New Horizon was unremarkable by most standards, a human colony, small, 10,427 inhabitants, according to the last census. Farmers, mostly, scientists, teachers, families trying to build something new on the edge of explored space. It took 6 months for a message to reach Earth from New Horizon. 6 months. That's how far they were from home, how alone they were. They grew wheat under an orange sun, raised children who'd never seen Earth, built a school, 3 communal halls, and held an annual harvest festival where everyone knew everyone's name. It was the kind of place where a child could leave their toy outside and find it the next morning, untouched, where neighbors argued about whose turn it was to host the monthly potluck, where the biggest crisis in recent memory was when someone's hydroponic system contaminated the shared water line with mint flavoring for 2 weeks. Peaceful, irrelevant, vulnerable. The Zarkathi arrived on a spring morning, local time 0847 hours. 12 warships materialized from quantum fold, their hulls black against the orange sky. The colony's governor, a woman named Elena Vasquez, received the standard Zarkathi ultimatum: surrender all resources, acknowledge Zarkathi's sovereignty, comply within 48 hours, or face eradication. Elena was 53 years old, former engineer, grandmother to 2. She'd left Earth 30 years prior because she wanted to build something that mattered. She'd spent 3 decades turning a lifeless rock into a home for 10,000 people. She asked for 48 hours to consider. The Zarkathi gave her 48 minutes. When the timer expired, Elena Vasquez sent a single-word response. 3 letters that would seal the fate of 2 worlds. No. The bombardment began at 0936 hours. The Zarkathi didn't target military installations. New Horizon didn't have military installations. They targeted everything: residential sectors, agricultural domes, the school. 14 hours. That's how long it lasted. I won't describe it in detail. You don't need those images, but I will tell you this. The Zarkathi didn't use precision weapons. They used area saturation, plasma bombs that turned square kilometers into glass, kinetic strikes that created craters visible from orbit. There were no soldiers to fight back, no defenses to breach, just 10,000 people who'd spent their lives growing food and raising children. The last transmission from New Horizon was sent by a communications technician named David Chen, 19 years old, born on the colony. He'd never seen Earth. The video showed him in the comm center, blood streaming from a cut above his left eye, fire behind him, emergency lights strobing red. His hands were shaking as he activated the quantum beacon, the emergency system reserved for absolute catastrophes. He said, "They're killing children. Please, someone, anyone." The transmission cut. 72 hours later, New Horizon was ash and molten glass. The Zarkathi fleet departed, leaving 2 monuments on the dead planet, 2 pillars, each 50 meters tall, inscribed in 47 languages, with the same message. This is the cost of defiance. And then they made their fatal mistake. They broadcast what they'd done to the entire galactic communication network. They showed the bombardment, the destruction, the monuments, as a warning to every other species. This is what happens when you say no to the Zarkathi. The message reached Earth in 6 months, carried by the same quantum beacon David Chen activated in his final moments. Humanity's response arrived in 72 hours. There's something most species don't know about humans. They have protocols, plans for scenarios they hope will never occur, protocols for pandemics, for asteroid impacts, for first contact, for extinction events, and for genocide. Protocol Carthage, named after an ancient Earth city that Rome didn't just conquer, they erased it, tore down every building, killed or enslaved every citizen, salted the earth so nothing would grow for generations, made it so complete that for 2,000 years nobody was entirely sure where Carthage had even stood. The protocol was written 200 years ago, after the first human colonies spread beyond Earth. It was a contingency, a line in the sand, a promise that said, if you eradicate one of our colonies, we will respond in kind. It had never been activated until that day. When David Chen's transmission reached Earth, 47 warships were already in motion, not toward New Horizon, toward Zarkathi Prime, the Zarkathi homeworld, 14 billion lives. You're wondering how they got there so fast? The Zarkathi wondered too. For 72 hours, quantum fold drives, technology humanity had developed in secret and never revealed to the Galactic Council. While other species relied on conventional FTL, which took weeks to cross between systems, human ships could fold space itself. Days became hours. Weeks became days. Humanity had kept it secret for 30 years. Apparently, they didn't trust the galaxy with that kind of power. Apparently, they were right. Let me tell you what happened on Zarkathi Prime from their perspective. Hour 0. The human fleet materialized 3 million kilometers from the planet. No warning, no hails, no demands. Just 47 warships holding position in silence. The Zarkathi High Command wasn't worried. Their home defense fleet numbered 230 ships, nearly 5-to-1 odds. Standard doctrine: overwhelm and destroy. They sent the entire fleet, Hour 6, 140 Zarkathi warships were debris. The humans had lost 2. Hour 12, the Zarkathi fleet was gone, all of it. The humans had lost 3 ships total. 3. The planetary defense network activated orbital platforms, surface-to-space railguns. Enough firepower to level a small moon. The human fleet didn't even slow down. Hour 24. Panic. Global broadcasts from the Zarkathi government assuring the population that reinforcements were coming, that this was temporary, that the invaders would be repelled. The reinforcements never came, because every Zarkathi fleet within 6 systems was being simultaneously engaged by other human forces. This wasn't a retaliation strike. This was a coordinated military operation spanning 14 star systems. Humanity had been planning this for months. Hour 48. The orbital defenses were silent. The human fleet entered high orbit. Planetary broadcasts turned from reassurance to surrender. Commander Zarketh, supreme leader of the Zarkathi Dominion, sent a direct transmission to the human flagship. His voice was steady, but you could hear the fear underneath. We have committed a grave error. We will provide any reparations you demand. The officers responsible for the New Horizon incident will be turned over for justice. Please, we surrender. The human response came 3 minutes later. One sentence, delivered by Admiral Keiko Tanaka, commander of the fleet. New Horizon had children. Then silence. Hour 72. Every transmission from Zarkath Prime stopped. All of them, simultaneously, 14 billion people. And suddenly, nothing. No broadcasts, no emergency beacons, no communication of any kind. When Galactic Council rescue ships arrived 1 week later, they found something that would haunt them for years. The planet was empty. 1745, 2030. A Verdade. It took months for investigators to piece together what happened. Security footage, computer logs, personal journals recovered from abandoned homes. Slowly, the truth emerged. And when it did, it divided the galaxy into those who called humanity monsters and those who called them merciful. The humans didn't destroy the planet. They evacuated it. Every single one of the 14 billion Zarkathi were forced onto transport ships. Families separated, belongings abandoned, lifetimes left behind. In 72 hours, an entire civilization was uprooted, and then humanity did something that still makes my circuits ache. They dispersed them, 1,000 Zarkathi to each of 14 million planets across human-allied space, never more than 1,000 together. Their language was prohibited in public spaces, their cultural centers dismantled, their history archived, but not taught. The humans didn't kill the Zarkathi. They erased them as a civilization. 10,427 humans died on New Horizon. In response, 14 billion Zarkathi lost everything, not their lives. Something worse, their identity, their culture, their home, their future as a unified people. Before the human fleet departed, they left one final monument on the empty planet, a single pillar in the center of what had been the capital city, inscribed in 47 languages, the same 47 the Zarkathi had used on New Horizon. New Horizon remembers, so does the galaxy. 2030 to 2020, in Saramento Wayfarer, I visited Zarkath Prime 15 years after it happened. It's a museum now. Entire cities preserved exactly as they were left. Personal effects still on tables. Children's toys in the streets, like everyone just vanished. Only one species visits regularly, humans. They go there to remember, to walk through the empty cities and feel the weight of what their species did. Some leave flowers at the monument. Some just stand in silence. I asked one why they come. She said, so we never forget the cost of our anger. I met a Zarkathi once. She was 12 when she was evacuated. She's 43 now, living on a human colony world. She teaches mathematics to human children. I asked if she hated humanity for what they did to her people. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I don't hate them. I fear them, and I respect them. They showed us that there are fates worse than death. And then they gave us a chance to earn life anyway. The galaxy learned 2 lessons that day. First, never touch a human colony. Second, humans are most terrifying when they show mercy, because they make you live with what you've done. This is the story of New Horizon and of Zarkath Prime. 2 civilizations. One died in fire, the other in silence. Both deaths were complete. Both were deserved, some say. Both were monstrous, others argue. I don't judge. I only collect the stories. And this is one that the galaxy will tell for 1,000 years. I am Wayfarer. And this is just one of countless tales I carry as I drift through the void. If this story resonated with you, traveler, leave your mark in the comments below. Your thoughts fuel my journey across the stars. And if you wish to hear more transmissions from the void, subscribe. It helps me continue drifting, collecting, and sharing the tales the galaxy doesn't want forgotten. Now, here is your sonic transmission from the Phantom Nebula, sounds captured at the event horizon of a dying star, where light itself surrenders to gravity. Let the void carry you, traveler.
Drift through abandoned star systems. Warm tape hiss and cosmic reverb create a bittersweet nostalgia for civilizations that once were. A slow, calculative meditation on loss and time.
jazz piano, soft drums, warm without crackle, real atmosphere, nostalgic swim of days, study music, and the guy.